Today I want to share with you guys exactly why we try our best to teach sustainable habits, but also doing it in a way where our members can help coach and also teach, whether they're family, whether they're friends, their coworkers, to also adapt these habits. You guys are tuning in for the first time. Welcome. Hey, Coach Joe here with Heartletics.com. And in today's episode, I want to go over the learning pyramid with you. So if you guys been listening to the most recent episodes, it's been kind of steering it with you, focusing on your mindset, right? Really steering the ship to getting you guys changing the way that you think. Yesterday, for example, Mark goes over, about, wasted time and how to not make any more excuses and how to prioritize and take control over your time. In the previous episodes before then, I'm going over different ways on how to set your mindset up for success. And then we also did an amazing goal setting masterclass, just helping you guys pinpoint on you becoming the best version of yourself. Well, in today's episode, I want to share with you why. At the end of the day, everybody has a deep-rooted why. But once you figure out and you can actually see that once you learn sustainable habits, once you learn how to become the best version of yourself, well, guess what? It's going to help out so many other people. And typically those people are your family members, your friends along the process. So for starters, let's kind of go over the learning pyramid. Okay, imagine just a pyramid and there's all these different levels to it. Kind of like, our pyramid when it comes to burning body fat. Like your foundation obviously has to be like your calories. And then next up has to be your macronutrients. And then like training, the fat loss habits that we go over. That's why some of the members, they're like, hey, Joe, you don't really talk about cardio a lot. And you don't really talk about supplements. And I always say, because the stuff like that doesn't really matter. Like, for example, the the supplements, they're at the tip of the iceberg. That's why I always say, like, hey, don't think you just take some magic fat loss pill and all of a sudden you're going to be down 30 pounds and, have, no more blood pressure medications and whatnot. It doesn't work like that. Like, you have to master your foundation. You have to master the basics first. So think in terms of like a learning pyramid. At the very top, right, the little bit, right, this is going to be like a lecture, okay? So imagine you just going somewhere and somebody telling you something, but it's not really that one-on-one. It's not really personal. It's just, hey, kind of like sitting down in a classroom, but, or going to college, right? You got all these people around you. Half the time, right, you're like falling asleep. I know I definitely was in school. And it's not that personal sense, right? So at the very top, right, of the learning pyramid, that's where it's like a lecture. And you guys can just literally just type in Google and type in learning pyramid and see this diagram for yourself. Now, let's say that's anywhere from about, 5 to 8% of you retaining that information, okay? Now, the next little block that's at the top is reading. Now, for me, I'm not a reader. I'm more of a just like listen to audiobooks. That's just usually my jam. I have really bad reading comprehension, so it's actually very tough for me and had a hard time in school unless it was something that I was very focused on. It was something that I enjoyed learning about. Then I had an easier time learning about that, right, and retaining that information. But so they say 10% is reading, okay, where you acquire that knowledge, okay. 20% is like audios, right, where once again you're kind of listening, but you're focused. So it's like an audio visual. So imagine that being like you reading a book and listening to an audio version of that book. That actually helps me retain more information. Maybe that's you watching a YouTube video where you're sitting down, you're actually focused on it, and learning that information with some different visuals, maybe a PowerPoint, whatever the case may be, rather than you just, listening to that YouTube video while you're off doing the dishes or whatever the case may be, like driving, where you're not actually focused on it. So 20% is like the audio visual. The next is like demonstrations. So this is why we kind of go over different kind of PowerPoints, at Heartletics to just kind of help members kind of visual see a demonstration. But we also go over the next, which is discussions, okay? Discussions is great because now it's that one-on-one. Now it's that open communication. Now it's that like, hey, Joe, why do I have to eat all this protein? Hey, Joe, why do we have to work out like this? Or, hey, Joe, like I had a question about this. Or, hey, Joe, I had this, right? It's a discussion. It's where somebody has a thought and then they can get it answered. This is why I'm not a fan of like diets and one size fits all training programs, because you can't have that discussion with anybody. You can't. Like you have to learn all that information, and half the time with diets and one size fits all training programs, you have to fit it into your lifestyle. So half the time it's not even sustainable long term for somebody. So let's backtrack, right? Just so I don't lose you guys. The very top of the learning pyramid is lecture. And then after that, about 10% is reading. And then 20% audio visuals, 30% demonstrations, 50% discussion. Now it's getting to the bulk of how you retain this information. And the next one up, 75%, is actually practice. Not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. And that's actually, let's say, going throughout the course of the day, doing your workouts, eating your protein, right? And you're starting to feel changes that occur in your body. Maybe it's also like working on your mindset. Not just saying you're going to do affirmations, but actually doing affirmations. Not just thinking about the things that you're grateful for, but actually writing down the things that you're grateful for. It's a practice that you can work on. And guess what? You can actually retain 75% more information just by doing so. But here's how you retain 90% of it. 90% of it, and this is why at Heartletics we simply strive on helping men become better leaders for their families, their friends, their communities. Because if we're able to teach you, right, let's say how to eat properly, how to train properly, and give you the knowledge. Hey, here's calories, how they work in the body with metabolism. Here's macronutrients, how it works with burning body fat. Here's strength training, how to implement that in a way that best suits someone's lifestyle, whether it's at gym or whether it's at the home. Well, guess what? If we're able to do so in a way where we can teach you, you can then teach others, right? And if it's very easy, I like to say like this: there's so much information out there. Over-analysis paralysis. We go over the philosophy KISS at Heartletics. Keep it simple, stupid. Meaning that, hey, at the end of the day, if we can teach you something that's very easy and understandable, and you can teach it to somebody else, you're going to acquire and adapt 90% of that knowledge and retain it all. Because guess what? It's so easy that you actually have an easy time sharing that information out with others. Now, this is why we're such a huge advocate to getting our members engaging inside the community groups, right? Whether it's the nutrition support group, whether it's the main community group, anytime somebody goes in there with a question and they need help, we always encourage the other members, hey, if you happen to see anybody in there, asking about protein or asking about resources or asking about workouts or anything like that, go in there and share some value. Because it's not that at the end of the day, like the coaches don't want to respond. No, that's not it at all. It's just that we know for a fact that if there's a member that, let's say, John Doe asked, like, hey guys, I'm having a hard time hitting my protein goal, right? 200 grams of protein a day. I know I need to eat more protein to burn more body fat, speed up my metabolism, but I'm having a hard time, right? I'm feeling full, I'm feeling bloated, right? Like, I need some help. And let's say, like, John Doe asked that question. Mike Smith goes in there and says, hey, John Doe, well, hey, brother, just so you know, man, anybody that is fresh, right, new into our coaching program, typically they have a slow metabolism. I know I definitely did when I first got started off. And so having all that protein, having all that food, it's definitely going to make you feel full, maybe a little bit bloated right at first and a little bit uncomfortable even. But hey, consistency is key here. You mentioned about 200 grams of protein you're trying to hit. Maybe follow the 2x2x2 method. Maybe focus on a protein sparing approach. Maybe doing this and maximizing how to get in all that protein, like different tips like that. So guess what? Mike Smith is giving John Doe some awesome advice. The coaches are looking at Mike Smith and like, awesome, like this is great. Like that's who we like to see is like the people, right? The members that are stepping up to help out the other people. But also at the same time, Mike Smith is going to get so much more value in the long run. Not because he helped out John Doe who had a question, not because the coaches are probably going to be like giving him a lot of praise and thanking him for that, but at the same time, Mike Smith is going to be able to retain, and we can see that he's retaining all that information that we're teaching him and coaching him because he's able to teach it to others. And this is exactly why our coaching program exists, is to help men become leaders. Let's face the facts here. Like, if you want your kids to get off their tablets and, work on their mindsets and be more active and watch what they eat and not just be lazy, you need to start doing that, right? Like, monkey see, monkey do. You can't just expect, right, your kids to be that change that, you want to see in the world, but you're just sitting on the couch eating chips and drinking beer and being lazy. Like, you gotta actually take action here. You gotta be that leader for your family. And I always say it, you can either be an asset for your family or a liability. Most people, most men in today's societies, they are liabilities. Like, it's horrible. They just don't care about their health. They don't prioritize. And they use this excuse of, I'm that type that gives my shirt off my back and I care so much about my family and, I want to work to pay the bills and work to save up for retirement and I got this and I don't have time. It's just an excuse. And, Mark went over that, Coach Mark, in the other podcast, going over, you can control your time or be managed by your time. And most parents love to make up excuses as to why they can't do something instead of thinking differently as far as how can I do this? How can I have more time? How can I make more money? We live in America here, right? You want to make more money? Go donate blood. Go donate plasma. Go sell some crap that's sitting in your garage and, your basement on Facebook Marketplace. Go rake some leaves and shovel some driveways. Like, it's not that hard. It's just people are lazy. That's the reality. And you can be an asset or a liability. Most parents, right? Most dads that don't care about themselves, don't care about prioritizing their health, they're liabilities, because the older they get, right, the lazier they get, their health deteriorates more. Next thing you know, they're on all these medications. Their health, life expectancy is a lot shorter. And now your kids are worried about you and worried about your health. So it's like you're being a liability instead of also leading by example. So now on the flip side, with you not caring about your health, hey, monkey see, monkey do, right? What if your kids were following through in all of your footsteps throughout life? Hating their job, hating their life, horrible health. Do you wish that upon your kids? Absolutely not. So why don't you make it that change starting with yourself to inspire others, i.e. your kids, to be different? And sometimes that means you need to take action. So this is why I have so much respect for a lot of the guys that complete our coaching program, because they don't just come in looking for meal plans and workouts. They come in looking to make a difference. They come in looking to become a leader. Think about it. Like, Mark lost over 90 pounds. Now he's a coach, right? He has more energy to play with his kids. He's running sprints all day with, his son. Like, he's doing all this stuff that he couldn't do before. Jimmy's the same way. I remember back when, Jimmy, he's a coach now. Back when he was going through his 12-week transformation program, like, I think it was raining outside or snow, something like that, and we had a step challenge. And he was doing his steps, getting his steps in, and he videotaped and sent it to the community group at home with his kids following right behind him, leading by example. Like, I love seeing that. He went throughout the course of his journey, lost over 130 pounds because he decided it wasn't about, doing this for him. It was about doing this for his family. You got guys like Brian, rotating swing shift or like crazy schedule. But hey, he needed to improve on his health. He needed to also make sure that he had more energy to play with his kids. He wanted to make sure he learned sustainable habits that work best for his lifestyle. Lost over 80 pounds. You guys got guys like Dennis, lost over 90 pounds. He thought it was all calories in versus calories out. And guess what? He was slowing down his metabolism, like literally putting on body fat, and was on all these medications, completed our course. Guess what? Lost over 90 pounds, got off all of his medications. Mike Berry, another example. 7 weeks of coaching, got off all of his medications, reversed his type 2 diabetes. Bill, same example, right? Literally doing push-ups and sit-ups at home and getting his steps in, following through with our nutritional advice. But guess what? Literally lost over 30 pounds, got off all of his medications. The list goes on and on and on and on and on, right? This is a reoccurring thing. The guys that get signed up for our coaching program looking to make a difference, not just in their lives personally, but in their lives for everybody that's around them, meaning their family, their friends, their coworkers, their community. They want to inspire others. They want to also lead by example. These are the people that get amazing results, but also these are the people that retain all the information. How many times have you tried a diet out there and you just lost some weight, right? So easy. Lose 15, 20 pounds like that, few weeks. But then you regain all that weight right back. Think about it. Odds are what you were doing wasn't sustainable for you or your lifestyle. And odds are, right, what you were doing didn't teach you anything. That's why, once again, I don't like diets. I don't like one-size-fits-all programs because at the end of the day, they don't teach you anything. Knowledge is power. Now, on this learning pyramid that I just went over, there's so many different ways to acquire that knowledge and retain that knowledge. But when you set yourself up to become a leader and help out others and teach it back, guess what? You're going to retain 90% of that more information. I bet you if somebody taught you how to properly eat for your body type and goals, how to train for your body type and goals, and you're able to teach that to your family, teach that to your kids, teach that to your friends and, coworkers, you will not regain that weight right back. But at the end of the day, you have to think about it like this. Anybody can come around here and give you a fish and feed you for a day. But who is really teaching you how to fish? Who is teaching you how to create these lifestyle habits? And if you don't have anybody in your corner supporting you, well, hey, maybe it's time that you decide to prioritize your life. You decide to prioritize your health. You decide to put yourself first, because when you focus on putting yourself first, you can actually help out a lot more people along the journey instead of being a liability. You're becoming a leader. You're becoming an asset. And I encourage you guys to do that. That's it, guys. As always, this has been Coach Joe with the Heartletics podcast, and I'll talk to you next time. Peace out, Girl Scouts.